You ready? Okay, Jane, you're good?
Good.
Good evening. Today is February 11th, 2014. It is 7:30 p.m. on the dot. This is meeting number 2014-04. This is the Board of Trustees regular meeting. Please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Desmond?
Here.
Trustee Carberry?
Here.
Trustee Vorder?
Here.
Trustee Strite will not be here tonight. Trustee Quinlan? Here. And Trustee Olenichik?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry.
Okay, for public comments, is Dr. Pablo Bernhardt here? Doctor, were you going to say some public comments? Okay. He might have just been thinking he was signing in, so. Is the doctor here for public comments? Okay, we're gonna move on then. Item 4 on the agenda is the MS Walk. I'd like to call John and Megan Quinlan to the podium, please. And John, I understand you are Jane's son, and
Yes,
Megan, your
yes.
daughter-in-law. Yes. Nice to have you here
Lucky
today.
boy.
Good to be here. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the
Were you one
board.
of the famous twins?
I am. Famous, yes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the board. My name's John Quinlan. I'm here with my wife, Megan. I came here to seek approval from the board to host this year's 2014 MS Walk here in Oak Lawn. This will be the 7th year in which Oak Lawn's hosted an MS Walk. This will be the 4th year with my wife and I running the walk. The walk's always the first Sunday of May. This year, it's going to be Sunday, May 4th. The walk's registration that day starts at 7:30 in the morning, and the walk kicks off at 9 a.m. The walk, again, will be at Richards High School, which is at 106th and Central. We're always located in the back south parking lot. The walk trail is about 2 miles. It's going to be a little bit different this year with the 111th Street construction, but it doesn't deviate the path too much, so I think we should be pretty good. Last year, guys, this walk, over 300 folks participated last year in the walk, which is a tremendous success for us, tremendous success for Oak Lawn, I think. Over $49,000 was raised at this walk alone for the MS Society here in Illinois, which is another huge accomplishment. Year over year, this walk continues to grow and continues to be a huge success. Thanks to the board here, all the participants in Oak Lawn and the surrounding suburbs as well. A few items for the walk. Folks can register online. That is at www.walkmsillinois.org. Any specific questions related to the walk can be directed to my wife, Megan. That email address that she set up for the MS Walk is oaklawnmswalk@gmail.com. Any other questions I can field, my wife can field now. Otherwise, you can contact us via email. We're looking to gain as much attendance again as possible and continue to grow this successful event here in Oak Lawn. So with that, we ask the board for approval for the event.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Olenichik, seconded by Trustee Carberry. Any discussion? Please take the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Item 5 on the agenda is conflict of interest disclosure. Does anyone have a conflict of interest to disclose with any item on tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we are moving on to item 6. This is approval of meeting minutes of the regular meeting minutes 2014-02, dated January 28th, 2014. May I have a motion on item 6, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Vorderer,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Desmond. Any discussion? Please take the roll.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
And Trustee Olenichik?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 7 is new business by village trustees. We're going to start in District 1. Trustee Desmond, what's new?
I just want to tell people again about the Oak Lawn Jobs Fair at Richards High School on March the 6th. It's for all high school seniors. There's going to be representatives again from the various trades, and they can explain to the seniors how to apply for apprenticeships. And I was watching CNN last night, and it seems now like Washington DC have taken the lead from Oak Lawn, and it was disclosed that Hillary has a hit list. It's called Hillary Hit List. So it seems that this thing is spreading. So we need to be careful, or soon every politician in the country are going to want their own hit list. So Tom Phelan, you got a lot to answer for. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. We're going to move on to District 2. Trustee Olenichik.
Yes, I just have a couple of updates. The Oak Lawn Raiders Social Athletic Club is holding their, I want to say it's their 20th annual winter picnic this week Sunday from 1 to 6 at the Homestead Bar located at 93rd and Central. The Raiders Social Athletic Club does fundraising functions specifically to use the money to donate back into the community. And it's made up of 50 guys from the neighborhood and throughout the village of Oak Lawn and other villages. So it's their first fundraiser. I know that 99% of the money that the Raiders make, they give out to various families in need, Misericordia, many different charities. But it's a great event if you're looking for something to do on a nice cold Sunday afternoon. It's a Texas-style barbecue. Please come out and join them. Secondly, we got an update. I know that intergovernmental cooperation and actually getting something accomplished is a very good thing, and I just want to compliment this board and the previous board for entering into an agreement with Cook County to help us enforce our responsible landlord-tenant ordinance. The whole reason why we involved Cook County was we were having a hard time tracking down landlords who had vacant or abandoned homes in the village of Oak Lawn, and then holding them accountable, which a lot of residents were getting very concerned about vacant property and rundown properties in the neighborhood. Since we've started this joint venture, we've been able to clean up many of the the issues that we've had through the neighborhood, but we've also been able to, the first check that came to us shows that we got our share of the fines being $17,625, which really isn't what we wanted to do. We wanted to make sure that we had some, as it was put at that time, some teeth behind our ordinance, and we had the hammer to be able to hold absent landlords, absent tenants, and absent landlord accountable for upkeep of their properties and making sure the properties are in good shape. So it's still work in progress, but I can tell you, just from Second District, we've seen a lot of improvement. And finally, we have a great village staff, and our fire department does a great job. But this past Saturday, the Oak Lawn community experienced an unfortunate fire-related death. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the victim. And in speaking with Chief Sheets, he shares my concerns, and he said, "We're not just an entity that serves you, we hurt too." So if you can keep the firemen that went into that house and did the best that they could to save everybody that was in it, please keep them in your prayers, because that's a job that they do, and they don't ever talk about it, but you know that has an impact on their lives too. The other thing that the chief wanted me to remind you of is, for the past several years, the Oak Lawn Fire and Rescue Department has embarked on an aggressive campaign to ensure each resident in the village of Oak Lawn has a working smoke alarm. In 2009, our fire chief secured a number of smoke alarms through a generous donation from the Oak Lawn Home Depot store. Since that time, most of those alarms have been given to residents in need. Another request has been made from the Oak Lawn Home Depot and Bridgeview Menards for support of this. As the fire department liaison, I'd like to remind you that the fire department provides free of charge fire education talks and home fire safety inspections, and installs smoke alarms to seniors that might need assistance. It's my hope that the village never experiences another fire-related death. To do that, we need your assistance. Please take a moment tonight and test your smoke alarms. Replace the battery if it hasn't been charged in a while or changed, and please have a home fire escape plan. Chief, I don't know if you'd like to say some other words.
Well, thank you, Olenichik. I will say that we learned late this afternoon that the second victim of the fire that the firefighters pulled out did die due to her injury. So that's unfortunate. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family members. But we, as Trustee Olenichik said, that we have embarked on a very aggressive campaign to install smoke detectors, provide smoke detectors for seniors and other individuals that may not be able to afford them or install them. But we have a banner over there, and Tom, if you can pan in over there, we want to make sure that every citizen of this fine village understands that, you can have, 4 firefighters on an engine, you can have the best equipment that money can buy, but if residents don't take a moment and test their smoke detectors, have a home safety plan in place, then seconds count. But the firefighters and the apparatus really is nothing unless you take a moment to make sure yourself that you're safe and that you have a working smoke detector. So again, working smoke alarms, we want to make sure that you don't disable the smoke alarms. We want to make sure that you change the batteries twice, replace the smoke alarm every 8 to 10 years, check your smoke alarm monthly, and vacuum dust or any debris that may be in those detectors. But again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of these 2 sisters that died in this tragic fire, and we want to make sure that everyone in Oak Lawn stays safe. And if you have any questions or want to receive a smoke detector, give us a call at the fire department at 708-499-7810. Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Very, very sad news, Chief. District 4.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to open with recognition of one of our longtime employees who passed away here in January 21st. Carolyn Smith worked for the police department as a community service officer, and certainly the title community service officer fit Carol's personality. She had great people skills. She served this village for many, many years, and she's going to be missed. She passed away with cancer, I believe. Is that correct, Chief? And on a better note, I want to recognize a program that the police department has had in place for 17 years. It's the Oak Lawn Peer Jury Program. And it's a program that started while I was still a policeman here, and what it does is it steers first-time juvenile offenders to a jury of their own peers. And the kids of the same age listen to the situation, the problems that these kids got themselves into, and then decide on a appropriate punishment, mostly community service type work. And the success of this program was overwhelming. Over 82% of the kids that participate in this never have any other contact with the police department. Now, this program is overseen by Officer Passetti now, and there are some civilians that help with this program. Mr. Jim Craig, who was a longtime school teacher at Oak Lawn High School, a gentleman by the name of Bill Egan, who's been involved in this community in many, many different programs, and I think they need to be recognized. One other point, not only does this help the kids who have got themselves in trouble, but it's a great tool for the kids that sit on that peer jury. My own 2 children years ago sat on that jury, and it gave them an opportunity to see the kind of things and the kind of trouble that kids can have and steer them on a straight way. So good job, Chief. Keep it going, and send my congratulations to Officer Passetti, Sergeant Passetti, correct, for his work there. Now, on the other news, today with the mayor, I attended the Chamber of Commerce luncheon where the mayor gave a presentation on the state of the village. And in the course of that presentation, she highlighted all the future construction projects that are going to be taking place in the next couple of years here, actually the next year in the village of Oak Lawn. And even I was surprised at the number of projects that are online. I thought, as a young boy, I remember when Oak Lawn was the pioneer community and everything was getting built. I see that there's a paradigm change going on here, and it probably spurred by Christ Hospital, Advocate Hospital, and the work that they're doing over there as we build many, many of these new clinics
okay, which will redefine the way this village serves its community. In fact, in my district alone this week, the Midwest Orthopedics Consultant will be opening up on February 13th. That's a pretty impressive building at 4220 West 95th Street. It is the old State Farm building, an underutilized piece of property, and it's gorgeous, and I'll be there representing my district. And on top of that, the new pavilion, the new outpatient pavilion, will be opening up and having a ribbon-cutting ceremony on February 19th. Now, this pavilion is 8 stories tall, and each story will represent a medical profession's specialties. Like the 8th floor will be a cancer clinic. In the 1st floor of that building will be a diagnostic center, and every floor will treat some discipline in the health field. And I think it's only fair to say that the CEO, the president, Ken Lukart, of that facility really built a first-class world hospital, and I can guarantee you the day will come when the Mayo Clinic will have competition, and it will be not Rochester, Minnesota that makes the news, but the village of Oak Lawn. And not only that, Ken Lukart stepped up to the plate shortly after I got elected and partnered with the village and all the work of my previous trustees, the village manager, to pay impact fees of over $3.2 million, and an agreement that they will be partners with the financial issues this village has in the future. And I'm really proud to see that happening here. And with that, I conclude my report, Mayor.
Thank you. District 5, Trustee Quinlan.
Thank you. Actually, I just wanted to bring up, tomorrow is a Public Works meeting, and we were all given a packet which talks about next year's program for street resurfacing and the water main replacement. And I realize that our budget is much lower than what it has been over the past year, but District 5 is getting $0 towards any street resurfacing. Obviously, we don't have any alleys or water main replacement. So just doing my own little tally, which I do every year, that District 1 is getting $108,000, District 2, $1,353,000, District 3, $392,895, District 4, $188,000, and District 6, $305,000. And, you know, what I would ask at your Public Works Committee meeting tomorrow and direct staff, this is absolutely the worst, that not one street is being done in District 5, and that over $1 million is being spent in District 2. And I do have a hard time with the fact that we're doing 2 alleys. And I know there's one in District 2 and one in District 3. To me, especially after the brutal winter that we just had, the streets are going to be in worse condition. And so I ask that that committee relook at doing any alleys and put that off and concentrate more on streets, and certainly to look at District 5 and to add some streets to it. To me, that's just inexcusable. That, one district takes so much more money and nothing comes to District 5. That concludes my report.
Thank you. District 6?
Yes, thank you,
Trustee
Mayor.
Carbier.
Just a couple things. St. Catherine's Men's Club is going to be hosting its 31st sports night. It's our big fundraiser of the year, and it draws together over 650 men, and it's been a great success for us over the last, like I said, the last 31 years. So anybody who's interested in buying an ad, our ad book is a big portion of the way we we reach the people in St. Catherine's, and it's a big moneymaker for us. So if you could contact Sandy LaFrano at 708-473-0302 if you're interested in that or participating in a great night. That's going to be Saturday, February 22nd. One other thing, Bunny Coyne from our area's granddaughter was scored a couple goals. Jane, you know John and the parents, but the granddaughter, Bunny Coyne's in my district, and John and Lisa both, did you say they both?
Yes, they both graduated from St.
They
Catherine.
both graduated from St. Catherine's. Their daughter scored 2 goals for the representing the U.S. women's hockey team. So congratulations to Mrs. Coyne and to John and to Lisa. That's all I got, Mayor. Thank you.
Could I add just one thing?
Yeah.
The player's name is Kendall Coyne, and she's on the women's hockey team in the Olympics, and she's number 26. So watch for her. So hopefully they'll be playing the Canadians for
Yeah.
the gold. So great family, and her father's in the Hall of Fame at Brother Rice, so a lot of history here in Oak Lawn.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay.
It's awesome. That it?
That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Item 9 on the agenda is ordinance 140410. Oops, I'm passing up our village manager, pardon me. Item 8, we can't forget village manager's report. Larry, you have the
You'll
floor.
be happy to know I have nothing more to report.
Okay, we'll move on then to item 9. Thank you, Larry. Ordinance 140410 is an ordinance amending certain provisions of Title 6 and 7 of the Village Code. This is building-related codes. May I have a motion, please, on item 9?
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Quinlan,
I'll second.
seconded by trustee Vorder. Any discussion?
I got a couple of questions.
Trustee Desmond, you have the floor.
Again, I think we probably need more time to look at this. There's a lot of stuff here. Delete the entire section. I mean, do we need to know what we're deleting? I had a question on, Don, you might be able to answer this, on the, it's on the drain tile, that you're changing that, the drain tile that goes around the building. I think it's a good idea, but my question is, you're requiring that we fill it with water. Now, usually at that stage of construction, the water service has been cut off for the old service, and the new service probably hasn't been installed yet. I mean, is it going to cause problems when it comes to test it? We're not going to have... Yeah.
Don, could I ask you to come to the podium so that you can address the questions? Thank you.
It's on page 29, Don.
So please state your name and position with the village, please.
Don McKenna, I'm Building and Zoning Administrator.
In the first paragraph.
Which code section was that?
29, 18-29-701. By deleting entire paragraph, it says, by deleting entire paragraph and substituting the following, the tile drainage inside any building, on page 29.
Right. Okay, well, you know, even though the water's been disconnected, if they don't have water available at the site, if they haven't brought in their own new water, there's usually, most contractors will come in for a meter and use the fire hydrant, because they still need water for either the concrete or washing down things, for the masonry. So there's still usually water on site.
Okay, so the village will allow them to use the fire hydrant?
Yes, they can go to the water department and obtain a hydrant meter.
Okay, good. That was my question.
Okay.
And any other questions, Tim? No?
Terry has.
Okay.
Don, as
Terry?
I understand it, this pamphlet, this code is the professional code recognized by the International Code Council on construction in residential and commercial areas.
The International Code Council is an organization. You know, it was a recent merger of 3 model codes in the United States. One of them being BOCA, that was right here in the Chicago area. They merged and formed one one organization. They prepare a model code which is adopted, almost universally throughout the United States, and now it's going into Europe now. It's a very recognized code. There is one other model code out there, but to the best of my knowledge, it really isn't very used. Not nearly as much as the International Code Councils.
Good, because, as I read through this, a lot of this, I have no expertise, plumbing, electrical, and all those kind of codes. I have to take it that the organization has designed and did this with professional standards that me, as an elected official, can count on as being the proper construction of properties.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I have some more questions.
Yes,
but
Trustee Desmond.
it's on the fire sprinkler part of this, so I don't know if Don knows anything about that.
You can ask, the chief is here. If I can't, maybe he can answer.
Yeah, I just want to clarify a couple of things. There's approved automatic sprinkler systems in new buildings and structures shall be provided in all locations where the fire area is greater than or equal to 3,500 square feet. What is considered the fire area? Is it like
Trustee
just a living
Desmond,
area?
that's not really a change in our code. That's been in our code for the last 35 years. And a fire area is basically the square footage or the area of a building between your firewalls. Now, a firewall can be different for different buildings. For instance, the hospital has multiple fire areas, but in our typical buildings across the street, on 95th Street, it would be basically one building. The code is designed where if you want to get around a certain section of the code, the ability is there to design around it. If you don't want to put sprinklers in your building, you can keep your fire area to under 3,500 square feet, and you can do so just by putting up fire walls. There are certain requirements for a firewall, but it can be done that way.
And what about single-family residential?
That is not in this code. That has been stricken from the code at the suggestion of the Planning and Development Commission. We're going to come back at a later time and discuss that.
Okay. And commercial remodeling. If someone is renting out, a new commercial space, is that considered new construction? Would they have to install sprinklers?
Depending on, in an existing building, if they do not have sprinklers and let's say they're over 3,500 square feet, again, if they're under 3,500 square feet, we're not having this conversation. If they're over 3,500 square feet and a new use comes into that building, a use that is the same as the previous, they would not have to provide a sprinkler system. If it's a change of use, if it goes from a woman's boutique selling clothes to a restaurant, that would be a change of use, and that would probably initiate a fire sprinkler. Something of that magnitude, yes. But again, that's not new in our code. That's been in our code for the last 35 years.
So nothing is changing.
Nothing's changing.
Okay.
Not in that respect, right?
Okay, so it's just if nothing is changing, why are we voting on it?
Well, again, we have to upgrade our codes, our code books every so often, and they're publishers. They have to change a few I's and dot a few T's new, and there are a few new smaller code changes in there. But the basic things that have been of concern, the sprinkler systems and stuff like that, majority of those have not changed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Any
Don.
other questions or discussion? Okay, please take the roll.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, item 10, this is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a 62.9 parking and miscellaneous variations at 5851 West 95th Street. This was a 8-0 vote to approve by Planning and Development, petition 2014-02, Richard Schmidt, petitioner in District 3. We did receive an email from Trustee Straight saying he was not able to attend. He said this is in his district, and he would prefer the item be tabled in his absence. Would anyone care to make that motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
I would make a motion to table.
okay, so we have a motion to table. Do we have a second? Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a
Motion
motion
to
to approve by Trustee Oliniechek and a second by Trustee Carberry.
Now we have a motion to table.
Yes.
And now a motion to table by Trustee Quinlan. Is there a second? Okay, that dies for lack of a second. We're going back to the motion to approve. We have a motion, a first and second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, Mayor and Trustee Quinlan, I just want to say I respect him not being here in his district, but however,
Yeah,
in
his
something like
dad's
this,
really sick, so.
I understand
mean,
it, but the
he's
business
not
still.
showing any respect.
Business still needs to go forward, and there's some of what I instructed. I said if the businesses are impacted and we need to go forward, I said we should be voting on it, and if there's something that we could, like the committee of the whole, I said let's table that. But if it's something that's going to affect our people, anyone in Oak Lawn and business and revenue, we got to move forward. So. I'm not disrespecting your motion. I understand where you're coming from, but I just wanted to explain myself and my thinking. That's all.
Well,
Trustee Quinlan?
I appreciate that, but I would like to ask the manager, can this not wait 2 weeks? It's in his district, and obviously, I don't know. I'm assuming
Sure,
that
I'd
he
be
has
more
some
than happy
concerns and
to address
questions
that.
about it.
Be more than happy to address that. I happened to attend, as did Trustee Carberry, the Planning Commission when the petitioner was present, and there's in your package a list of all the adjacent property owners that, by our ordinance, requires that they're notified. There was not a single objection. Presentation was thorough. It was an 8-0 vote. It would have been 9-0, but one of the commissioners could not attend. And it's always been procedure that when there's a unanimous vote, it immediately goes to the village board so that the applicant can begin the work of securing bids for demolition and securing bids. Spring will not be long around the corner, longer than I'd like it to be. But that's what builders are doing now. They're starting to take bids and line up their contractors and subs for the work. So traditionally, we would never table an item of this nature. There
Well, I
was
think-
absolutely zero opposition expressed. It went through the entire public process, Trustee.
Yeah, and Trustee Quinlan, he did not give one reason for why he'd like it tabled. There was, the petitioner is present. I asked him if, and his name is Mr. Richard Schmidt, or Rick. He said he was never contacted by Trustee Straight with any concern whatsoever. And I'll let you
Part
have
of
the
that-
floor.
Yeah, part of that could also be with his dad's illness and being in the hospital and everything,
Yeah,
so.
if he could take the time to email, he could certainly say what his concern was.
And I just
Yeah.
read the email as well today, but I do have concerns, when I see a 62.9% parking variation, that concerns me.
Well,
And-
Trustee, if I could on that, it's something that our planning commission has for probably over a year discussed, and you'll see in every package, we have an unusual, outdated ordinance as applies to parking. So almost every single medical applicant who's come before the board in the last year, whether it's Little Company of Mary or Bluestone, they do the same analysis, and a 4-to-1 ratio is very common in Wheaton's, Naperville's, other communities that Oak Lawn would benchmark against. And the commission intends to make a change because it appears like there's a large variation. There really isn't a large variation if you look at more updated codes. So the Planning Commission, working with Mr. Gallagher, should have that done, I would hope, by late spring, come before the board. They're not asking, their actual parking design, they're building a deck. This is probably one of the first projects is building the deck. Bluestone had a underground parking garage, and they eliminated that. And they downsized their building. They were going to have 3 stories. They went to 2 stories because they decided they could not afford the structural construction costs. In this case, the applicant has a deck going forward, and that's a sizable expense to make the project in line with what the code calls for. They're also considering some mixed use, which is something this board and the Planning Commission have asked for. If they're able to secure some retail on the first level, that's what they would like to do. They're out marketing, actively marketing some of the space for some compatible retail. Could be along children's clothing lines or women athletic clothing and/or related small eateries that would serve customers going to the various physicians in the building. But the parking 4-to-1 is very comparable to the projects you've approved in recent, I'd say in the last 24 months.
What about the variation from the property line instead of, what was it, instead of 20 feet, it's 10 feet or something like that?
There's utilities that surround the building. Actually, ironically, this is a site where ComEd for months parked the truck propping up a defective power line. And the owner of this property abuts residential property to the south, and the landscaping and the design of the parking deck, I believe, will provide even more of a, what I would call a security and a buffer zone for that neighbor, which now has no landscaping and a surface parking lot and an easement you cannot build on because of the power lines in that area.
Because they weren't planning on putting up any type of masonry wall or anything like that, correct? That's what I was reading. But they are doing landscaping, and it's going to be tall landscaping?
Should we call the petitioner up to
I think
answer
that
that
would
question?
that would be a good idea.
Rick Schmidt, would you care to come up, please? Let's come to the podium, please, and I don't... Yeah, you could take those just in case they're needed. I'd appreciate it, thank you. Josh, would you be so kind as to bring the easel if Josh is here or whoever is available? Thank you. And could you please state your name and your address, please?
I am Rick Schmidt, 707 Clinton, Oak Park, Illinois.
Thank you. And Trustee Quinlan, feel free to ask anything.
If you could answer that one question then about...
Yeah, here's the picture that you're asking about, the drawing. This is the issue down here.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the residential, the multifamily residential here.
Right.
And we are landscaping it pretty thoroughly. It's a 10-foot. The code requires, or is asked for a masonry wall, but we're building a parking deck, which the end of this elevation will be a masonry wall, be a precast concrete, but a nice looking wall. So if we were to build the wall, first of all, we have the easement at this area also. So our variance asked for the omission of that masonry wall with the thought that our deck actually serves the purpose of the screening. That allows us to put the landscaping area between that 10-foot setback and zero, which is much more than what they have. If we were to build a wall at the property line, it would just be, they'd be looking at a wall and there'd be no landscaping at all. So I should probably talk over here. But,
Right, okay.
So in this sense, it adds to the value of the neighbors to the south. That's the
Okay.
thinking there.
And just from reading this, you anticipate that it'll all be medical or?
No, we don't know right now. Medical is committed to the second floor, entirely right now.
Right.
So we're looking at, as Larry had said, we're looking at other options also, whether it's retail or office or medical. So we're open to.
I think, obviously, I definitely prefer more retail versus medical. I
Right.
think that does a lot more for Oak Lawn, but I'm going back to the parking variation, and I hear what you're saying. I don't know what that percentage would be based on how we are changing our codes.
Ratio of
but-
parking will be around 4-to-1, trustee, and that's about.
So the variation would be what? Like, what would be the percent? Right now, it's 62, but if we made those changes that staff is looking at, or what the normal,
A 4-to-1, which they're providing, is what most communities that we benchmark again, and which the Planning Commission has been looking at, provide. So when you see the variance that they're asking for, and it says 62%, that jumps out of you, at you, and you said, boy, that sounds like
Right.
quite a variation. And it's not.
so
it's
there would
not
be
a-
no variation then, is what you're saying, if we were filing a different,
If you were building a medical building today and you were in a community that had an updated ordinance relative to parking, 4-to-1 would be a good sweet spot. That's a good ratio.
but that would be for medical, does that also include, and then if the lower level was retail, where you're gonna see more cars, I would imagine, if you have retail on the lower level?
Well,
So is that still the same case? I'm thinking of the future. Right now, it could be fine. There's nobody on the lower level. You don't know who's going to be on the lower level.
I don't think you're going to see the type of intense use that you would have when you look at the array of retail that would go with a professional medical building. I don't see that you're going to see much difference in the parking that they're built. 4-to-1 is a nice ratio.
Okay.
We have trustee Vorder wanted to make comments, and then trustee Desmond. You have a gentleman with you. It
Yeah,
looked like he-
Tassos Chronopoulos.
It looked
He's
like
the-
he wanted to say
he's
something.
the-
Sir, would you care to come? Did you? Yes, please come to the podium so everyone can hear you.
He's running the project
Okay.
for there's two doctors are the owners.
Great.
And Tassos is basically running the project for them, so.
Very good. Could you please state your name
Yeah.
at the microphone, sir, and
I'll let you spell your name.
your firm?
My name is Tassos Chronopoulos, Chronopoulos. Pretty long one. I just wanted to make a clarification here. The areas that we're talking about, this area here is nothing else but Commonwealth Edison wires and columns that they go left or right. So the alley here, what we have done in this area is beautified, basically because there is nothing else we can do except move the columns, but you cannot even see the columns. So this is really beautifying the two properties. So this area here is also Commonwealth Edison wires. So nothing here makes anything nice. So the deck, the garage that we have, and here it is.
Here's the existing conditions. So here, I mean, this is asphalt, 100% asphalt. The property line here, this is the property line where we're landscaping, right here, and it's, as you can see, it's not pretty.
In fact, there's no way that you can put grass here, it's gonna die. So this is the reason that we're putting the trees, so we can cover the wires, and come across somehow nice. And the framing of the garage is not just precast concrete columns.
No.
They are transoms, they're nicely done so that we can beautify what these people are looking at every day they wake up in their apartments.
It serves as a backdrop very well for the landscaping. It's going to be very nice.
So what we're doing really, we do not know if this landscaping is going to stay alive without taking care of it, because the site is very narrow. But we're picking up trees that they can survive with some light. So this is one thing that I wanted to discuss, and also I want to clarify something. The commercial units that we hope to get in this building are going to be related to the usage that they have on the second floor, which are medical facilities, which means a small boutique store for children because there will be there no big young person with all his other doctors and associates. And in here, we try to do a health club, some type of a club, that women can come in and lose some weight and buy some stuff. So the parking issue of calling it commercial is not one of a big restaurant or a big shopping center, or it's just small boutiques, because the space is not there to engage a large tenant to come in. So maybe I have answered your concerns.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have.
Thank you very much. Trustee Vorder, you have the floor.
Oh, yeah, Madam President, I just, out of respect for the trustee, I just wanted to know what his objections were, that we tabled it, but you've answered it for me, and the presentation is excellent, so.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Desmond.
My question was along the same lines as Trustee Vardell, or out of respect for Trustee Strite, who couldn't be here. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't have any concerns. And I mean, has he had any concerns with planning and development,
I have
or
not,
with you guys?
I have not heard any, no, frankly, no.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, so we're going to call the vote, please. We're voting on item 10.
Trustee-
We have a motion.
We've got the motion.
No, we already had it, yeah,
We're ready to go.
yeah.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
I'm voting no based on the fact that trustee Strite had made the request.
Okay. And Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you. We're moving on then to item 11. This is ordinance 140411, an ordinance granting certain variations to allow for the construction of a medical office building at 5851 West 95th Street.
Motion. No, I'm sorry. Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Warder,
Yes.
Second.
seconded, I think that was Trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion on this item? Please take the roll.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
No.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
Okay, moving on to item 12. This is ordinance 1402, and congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, too.
Ordinance 1404-12. This is an ordinance amending Title I, Chapters 6 and 7 of the Oaklawn Village Code pertaining to the creation of a committee of the whole. I need a motion, please, on item 12.
Well, that's what we were going to say.
This
We're
is
gonna
the one,
table
did you
that.
care to table that?
Yeah, we can table
We have a motion by Trustee Carberry to table, seconded by Trustee Vorderer. Any discussion?
Can we just make a motion to postpone to the next meeting?
There you go.
Okay, so we're going to modify that motion then, Trustee Carberry, to postpone to the next meeting. Are you still good with that, Trustee Vorder? Okay. Let's take the vote, please.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Carberry.
Yes.
Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 13 is Resolution 140406, a resolution approving an environmental remediation agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Environmental Protection Industries. May I have a motion, please, on item 13?
Motion to approve?
Properly moved by Trustee Desmond,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Any discussion of this item?
I had one question.
Yes, Trustee Desmond.
This is for Mr. Deachin. Does something like this need to be put out for bid? I mean, is there RFPs on this?
Actually, it's professional services, doesn't require bid, but when we first selected this company, we interviewed several firms, and they have done all the environmental work at Stony Creek Promenade at 111th and Cicero. It's also important to make sure that they're certified and respected by the State of Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, because if there is anything found in the ground when we excavate at that area, we want to make sure that we do have a company that is recognizable by the IEPA.
And is there only one company that's you feel comfortable with?
There are other companies that do this work. This is kind of the premier firm, if you will. They're a South Holland, so they're a South Southland area firm that have done a lot of work on remediation, particularly in the south communities.
Thank you.
I may add to the board that when we closed on this property, the muffler shop, they were required to contribute. So there was roughly $40,000 that was taken off the price based on Phase 1 and Phase 2 work, environmental search work that was done by the same firm. So that immediately is accounted for. And one of the reasons we're doing this is because we have a lake, a small pond, if you will, that will be the feature at that shopping center. And we want to make sure the water quality of there is certainly compliant with the state.
Thank you. Any other questions about this item or any other discussion? Hearing none, please take the vote.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We're going to turn the floor to over to our village clerk, Jane Quinlan. Item 14, village clerk's report.
Thank you. Disbursement Resolution Number 2014-03D, semi-monthly disbursements dated February 11th, 2014, in the amount of $5,890,688.20.
May I have a motion, please, on item 14A?
Motion approved.
Properly moved by trustee Carberry,
Second.
seconded by trustee Quinlan. Any discussion? Please take the vote.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Motion passes. Couple more things, Mayor.
Okay.
Last Saturday, we had a special day over at St. Gerald's. It was the in the Jonathan Collins Center, and it was St. Gerald's historic first basketball game there. It was very nice at 9 o'clock last week. John and Alice Collins were there. The center is named in honor of their grandson, who was killed years ago. So it was a great morning, and thank you to everybody who helped with that. And we've also got, as I've talked about previously, the March 18th primary is coming up, and the last day to register vote in the Oak Lawn Clerk's office is February 18th. And this weekend, we've got a nice fundraiser for Park Lawn over at the Doubletree in Alsip, and that is Saturday night, the 15th, Rhapsody in Blue. If anybody would still like to go, please call 708-425-6867. Hope to see you there. That's it.
Okay, thank you. We're going to switch over to item 15, Village President's Report. Item 15A is a request for a Class F like Frank liquor license. This is restaurant, beer and wine only, with or without a bar, for Big Papa's Gyros at 10806 South Cicero Avenue in District 6. And may I have a motion, please, on 15A?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by trustee Desmond. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Quinlan. Any discussion on this item? Okay, please take the...
Madam President.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I've had a concern of where we're going to limit liquor licenses and poker machines. And as this is a growing concern, as more and more establishments look for it. And I need to ask, where are we going to limit where we're going to put poker machines when we get a request from a nail place, okay, for beer and wines where they get their toes? We're going to put machines in there. And I kind of decided that I'm going to limit myself to fast food restaurants, and I'm going to have to vote no on this. I just want to qualify that.
Okay.
But I have no problem with the machines and the legitimate establishments that have been around for a long time, but not in the fast food. That's taken us down the wrong slope.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Madam
Trustee
Mayor.
Carberry?
Well, then we're making comments on it. I'm going to be voting no as well, until we get something figured out where we can, figure out what we're going to do with these machines. I don't think they should be going in the fast food restaurants as well.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Just quickly,
Trustee Quinlan?
we have asked council, I think, to address this in staff, to kind of come up with a plan, and if we're changing the liquor licenses, the different codes, I don't know, I think we've been talking about this now since the spring. And, just to address some concerns and so other businesses know what's what, I think the sooner the better.
Well, just briefly, I was contacted by Senator Cunningham's office earlier this week. He is introducing a bill that would allow municipalities to limit the number of video gaming licenses. I think last year, Trustee Olenichek asked that we work with Senator Cunningham. We have been working with him. He has a bill ready to be introduced. We reviewed it with him. It's just not a straight cap because of the different populations for different villages, so it needs a little work, but it has a zoning component to it. So we do expect that to go in, so we have been working on it. We've been in contact with the Illinois Municipal League. There's other concerns that may open up the village to litigation, and that's why we thought maybe this was the best way to go, because it is not only here in Oak Lawn, but it's an issue across the state, as municipalities have approved the use of the video gaming machines, have seen this type of, requests from different businesses, and everybody's sort of struggling with it as we move forward. But I will continue to work with Senator Cunningham and provide the board with an update through, maybe Larry, I can get you something for the till in the next week or two and let you know where that's at.
Thank you, Paul.
And just an update.
Trustee Olenichek.
The state of Illinois, when they allowed the video gambling, just had one prerequisite. All you needed to have was a liquor license. They have no limit on where that liquor license or what type of liquor license. And so that's why in a trip down to Springfield, the mayor and myself, when we went with the Illinois Municipal League, specifically went down there and we found a lot of our peers who are going through the same issues as they tackle this. And I do commend our representatives for willingness to work on it, because it's kind of a hot potato with the rest of the elected officials in Springfield. So it's not that this hasn't been something that we've worked on, but Springfield works at a certain pace, and this is not at the top of the priorities at this point. And I know that our representative has put it at the top of his priorities, and hopefully we'll be able to get support from other senators throughout the state of Illinois to get this moved through, to give the local municipalities the ability to limit the amount of gaming licenses.
Trustee Desmond next, please.
Is there someone here from Big Papa's?
Yes, would the petitioner care to come up and?
My question is, there seating? Is it a fast food or is it
What I'd like
sit
you to
down?
do, please start by stating your name, and are you an Oak Lawn resident?
Yes, my name is Sandra DeGangi. I bought the business 5 years ago. I fell in love with Oak Lawn, so I moved my children into Oak Lawn 4 years ago.
Thank you. And
do you have seating?
I'm sorry?
Do you have seating?
Yes. Yes, I do. We seat up to 16.
Okay, so you have bathrooms for?
Yes, I do.
Is your intention, are you done? I'm sorry. Is your intention to bring video gambling in after
Yes,
you get
it
the
is.
liquor license?
Yes, it is, sir.
any other questions? I just want to state also, you're a little bit famous in Oak Lawn for your Christmas spirit.
Running around going crazy, yeah.
Yeah. How many meals have you done last year for the
Oh,
poor?
it's been building now. We just had our fourth annual Christmas. Over 2,300 meals went out.
Yeah.
And if I may just say, I am only looking to bring in beer and wine. I'm very responsible. I'm looking just to expand myself a little bit there. I'm hoping within maybe the next 2 years I can actually double my storefront to make it a little bit bigger. Like I said, I just celebrated my 5th year there. I'm staying in Oak Lawn because of one reason, because I fell in love with the community. I'm not looking to pick up and move out. I'm very responsible. I'm hardworking. I get there every morning, and I'm there 7 days a week, all day. Any beer or wine that is being sold there will be sold solely from myself.
And do you have any type of security planned? If you're going to be serving alcohol?
Yes, I do. We do. The ADT, I believe the company that I just spoke to, I am putting up full security, all cameras inside the restaurant, from front to back. I do have some cameras on the outside and the back right now, and in the front part of the restaurant when you first walk in. Knock on wood, 5 years, never a problem.
I mean, how are you going to serve it? Are you going to have draft? Are you going to have a bartender, or is it the people serving the food will be serving?
No. The beer and the wine would be strictly under lock and key. It will be wine coolers and it will be bottles of beer only.
I have no more questions.
Okay. Any other questions for petitioner? So basically, you're doing this to try to expand your business, which is an established business.
Yes, just made
Okay.
5 years, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Well,
Trustee Osmond?
yeah, I mean, I have no more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
But,
You could have a seat.
Okay, thank you.
But Terry is correct. I mean, we do have to draw the line somewhere. At the same time, I think our business is in the spirit of what this of what the board passed this ordinance for. But where do we stop it?
Yeah. It's a really tough issue. Trustee Vorder.
Tim, if we grant this one, then I don't know if we can stop anybody that serves when White Castle asks for a liquor license and wants to put them in 24/7. Where do we draw the line? And you know what? I appreciate the fine work this woman done. I donated to their Christmas bag, gave up my Christmas day to deliver the food. But I have an obligation to this community, and I don't want to see these machines in every single store. I want to see them here. They do provide revenue, but I have to draw the line somewhere.
Well,
Trustee Quinlan?
I think more importantly, it does help the business, and, especially a business like you guys do so much for the community itself, and the bottom line is, it's legal. It's an okay thing to do, and until such time that changes, I don't see how a wine shop just down the street can have it, a flower shop, let me rephrase. And then, somebody like this is needing it to be a successful business, and with the hopes of being able to expand their business, I don't see how you can deny that.
Okay. I think everyone who had something to say weighed in. I'm going to call the vote.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
No.
Trustee Vorder?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay. Thank you. Item 15B is ordinance 140413. This is an ordinance increasing the number of Class F like Frank liquor licenses that can be issued in the village. Big Papa Zeros, 10806 South Cicero is the petitioner. May I have a motion on 15B, please?
Motion to approve.
Properly moved by Trustee Desmond.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Quinlan. Any discussion on this item? Let's call the vote.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Nope.
Trustee Vorder?
Nope.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-2.
Okay, thank you. I can hardly wait to see an expansion, and best of luck, and
Goes on the market.
yeah. Okay, last thing, 15C, General Village Matters. The Oak Lawn Rotary Club is doing something new this year. If you don't happen to be in the area where the Raiders are having their event and you're still hungry, $5 will buy you all the tastes of chili and salsa you can handle. This is at Quigley's South. It's Sunday from 1 to 4. It's a fundraiser for the Oak Lawn Rotary Club. There are split the pot raffles. It'll be a lot of fun, and it will benefit children and young adults with disabilities at the Oak Lawn Children's Museum Easter egg hunt. So for more information, contact Monica Boatman at 708-636-7526. And okay, the number again is 636-7526, and that's the chili cook-off, and salsa too. CPR is this Saturday, yes, Valentine's Day weekend, this Saturday. It's not too late to register. You can find the link on our village website. And lastly, I just want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to present the State of the Village address today. I really appreciated the opportunity to highlight the positive things going on in Oak Lawn. And with that, we're going to move on to 16, please. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Properly moved by trustee Olenichek.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Desmond. Any discussion? Let's call the vote.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourning.
We are officially